Welcome to Huntley 158 Today.
You know, one of the many things that makes District 158 a great school district is our buildings. And what's interesting about us is our oldest building is our high school, and it's just at 20 years old. So we're very fortunate to have new buildings. But while they're new, they are starting to age. And so we're starting to see things like roofs that need to be redone. And we've also still got expansion of kids, and our high school has been affected by that. We're going to talk about a little bit about that today.
And we have the perfect guest for that today, Dr. Berkey. Today we have Doug Renkosik, Director of Operations and Maintenance.
Welcome, Doug. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Well, Doug, you've been with the district now for 14 years, so you've seen lots of changes come through the district from the buildings and the community. Tell us a little bit about your experiences here in District 158 and your professional background.
I started my career actually thinking I wanted to be a structural engineer, a geotechnical engineer in the petroleum industry. And after living through the economic downturn in the mid-'80s, I decided to get out and get back into construction, which I had been involved with prior to that, prior to my college degree. And in fact, did that for about 10 years. And then found that I had an interest in managing facilities. And so I joined Illinois Valley Community College and did the kind of work I'm doing now here. I've been with this school district for 14 years, and it's been real challenging. In the first few years, we built a lot. We were growing at a rate of one school building per year of student population, and it took 2 years to build the building. So the Board of Education Administration was very busy.
Well, Doug, we're very lucky to have somebody of your expertise overseeing our buildings. But can you talk a little bit about the number of buildings we have, the square footage, because this really is a huge operation.
Indeed it is. We have 3 campuses, and they're little cities to themselves, I think I've heard you say in the past.
They definitely are, yes.
And we have, our smallest building is 120,000 square feet, which is really big for an elementary school. Our high school is now over 500,000 it's just under 500,000 square feet, and it's a pretty big high school. We have a total of 9 facilities on these 3 campuses. We manage a little over 200 acres. I think we own a lot more than that for future planning. But we have quite a few acres that we rent out right now.
So we basically probably have one of the largest facility areas and land areas of any organization, public or private, in the entire area. But one of the things that we really want to focus on today is our high school. We just got done or getting done completing a major renovation, but also expansion of Huntley High School. And why do we have to do that, Jessica?
Well, I think that started 3 years ago, and it's been every year a new addition or a new change that was going on in there. And most of those changes have had a lot to do with the change in education and academics that we have here in District 158. And if we could talk a little bit about those kinds of things.
And new students. We are starting to level off student-wise in the district, but our high school is still continuing to grow as our larger classes move up, and our high school just literally could not accommodate the number of students we had. Doug, could you specifically talk a little bit about the projects this summer at the high school? These are kind of the culminating projects of what we were talking about.
Well, we are wrapping up the west addition on the high school right now. We are replacing the roof on about half of the high school, maybe a little more than half. We've done some masonry restoration, pretty significant masonry restoration. We've enhanced the parking lot system with some renovation of existing lots. We've also in the midst of expanding the student parking by a couple hundred stalls. So it's been a very busy summer. It's probably capital projects-wise one of our biggest summers ever in my 14 years with the district, as far as investing and extending the life of these facilities on for another life cycle.
One of the projects I know you're finishing is the library at LeGee. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because that's been a process in a number of our buildings.
I think it's one of the most exciting changes that I've seen here in the last few years.
We're actually ending that phase of going around the district with renovating. LeGee was one of the latter ones to have pods built inside the facility. We did most of the work with in-house staff, so it was a different kind of project for School District 158. As we've grown, we've been able to bring on some pretty handy maintenance staff to help us with that. And not all of it was done in-house. There were some components of it that we outsourced. But we built 4 pod rooms. We divided up some existing space within the library to complement that for their educational process delivery over there.
Doug, you said this is one of the busiest summers that you've had in the 14 years. If you think about these things are starting to wind down, nothing changes in operations and maintenance, what are some of the future projects that you see in any of our buildings as we move forward in the next few years?
I'm sorry, but can I just make one little correction? We had a much busier summer when we opened 5 buildings all at once, but this is second. This is definitely the second in my 14 years here. To the future, look to the future. Our buildings are going to continue to mature and come out of warranty and end the life cycle on things like asphalt and roofing systems. And I know that the district plays a great value in the appearance, and so we continue to work on the interior to keep them fresh with things like floor finish replacement that take the earliest wear and tear.
Well, I'm always impressed when people from other school districts are here visiting our buildings. We almost uniformly get comments about just how nice the appearance of our buildings is. And I think that's something that we're really proud of, that we're really investing in keeping the taxpayers' investment really to be a top-notch facility.
Well, I think a lot of that is due to Doug and your process of deciding what projects need to be done and when they need to be done. You briefly talked about that 10-year plan as you're looking at that. Can you tell us a little bit about the process that you do as you're thinking ahead for the future projects?
Well, I'm very pleased to say that our district has supported this idea that I brought forward 14 years ago, but we actually commence planning for the next summer, and like right now, we're planning for next summer. And it's actually a never-ending process as we manage the facilities and have reports of issues or see things that are signs of wear and tear. We keep a record of that, and then in the fall, we pull out all those records and start to build our model of updates. And we have surveillance going on of the building envelope, it's all important to provide shade and shelter, number one, with facilities. And we build a model using information from recognized professional associations on what expected life cycles are and what manufacturers consider an expected life cycle. But then we evaluate our condition of our facilities every year again and update that document because not all facilities experience the same kind of wear.
So basically, the summer of 2016 just ended, but you're already focused on the summer of 2017 and beginning that process.
So Doug, before we wrap up here, for the families that are coming back to District 158 and for those that are new, what was the most exciting project that you worked on this summer?
The roof replacement at Huntley High School. I place great value in making sure that we do not let the weather get into our buildings. And that can be the most challenging problem that we could have. I think we have really good facilities. In order to protect them, to preserve them, we need to make sure that all that moisture outside stays there and it doesn't come into our buildings and create other problems with the indoor environment. So and we've put in a really good roofing system. It's also going to enhance energy conservation in the building, which is also a very exciting area for me.
Doug, I really want to thank you for being our guest today.
And thank you for joining us at Huntley 158 today. If you have questions that you'd like to see on the show, please submit those to District 158's Facebook or Twitter, #Ask158. See you next time.